this. If you have, what I'm speaking about the elements is going to be very important. You're going to want to listen to this whole thing. But if you have a chick, say for instance, you have a girl that becomes a police officer, or a person or a girl that has too much testosterone and then she's into other girls. That means that's a person stagnating a person's life because you have people that socially vote. Now listen to everything I'm saying, even the advocacy. You have people that socially vote. Now you say you have a girl that say she's a girl, say for instance, I'll use it for instance, an officer for instance, that she has too much testosterone and then she's waiting for the right guy one day. So it seems, quote unquote, so it seems. Like she be waiting for, quote unquote, so it seems. She be waiting for the right guy one day in her life. Or pardon me, you got people creeping up on me while I'm making my documentary. But say, for instance, you have a person that is an officer and then she says she's waiting for the right guy one day to meet the right guy. And then she's social economically learning to go to, but to become an officer, you have to have college credits. So you social economic have an education to historical events and supposed to know the reason one wants to do real security, because one is protecting oneself and bettering oneself and regarding oneself, and also regarding one's social environment of oneself. Because the importance of a person's doing like that is an overall situation, and it takes a very a humble conscious mind to be an officer to tolerate certain things. Sometimes with experience, a person could maneuver and be very, very skilled or very talented of knowing how to go about situations in life for the uprightness. But then you have sometimes other type of situations. And the reason why I'm saying this, say for instance, because the times that we in and the things that happen and the things that I've been viewing and hearing, even when it comes to the presidency and the regards to safety of one's real reality. Because a person, you got to think about, there's another election coming up for a person, and then they wanted to impeach the president. That don't make no sense. So you have people that out there, that doesn't care about the survival of the, this is ignorant people and stuff that just set off. Anyway, then some people don't consider the survival, that person did that on purpose, so you can see it from over there. They set off the car alarm while I was speaking. But you have people that's very ignorant when it comes to the survival of individuals. And I'm gonna be real with you right now. I have a slight how could you call it, nasal cold. I have a slight nasal cold, and then dealing with neuroactivity, and then you see the stupidity of a person of what they did. So anyway, but as I said, say for instance you have certain people, today is 1/28/2020. Now you have certain people that doesn't care about the regard of another person's existence a certain type of way, even in life, and in the things that they do. Now, say for instance, you have a feminine being that says, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for the right guy." Bullshit in her family and other people that have been waiting and wondering what she waiting for. But she says, "I'm gonna wait for the right guy," and then she turns around and starts dealing with a girl until she meets a guy like is a sperm donor. Like she doesn't care for the reason of bettering the legacy or lineage of her bloodline, and she uses a person for a sperm donor. So she doesn't care who implants whatever in her. It's like a cover up to a form of criminal activity, because it would be an officer, it would be a criminal activity, because if you regarding yourself and care and learn about your education, the reason and importance of the human condition, and you want to run to a sperm bank, that means you don't really care about your family, legacy, lineage, and bloodline, and you just bullshit. That means you'll just be making a mockery and demoralizing and bullshitting people that care about what's really going on in the world. So they will be basically wasting time, income, revenue, and comfortability. So because, you know what I'm saying, a girl, it doesn't take, now you're gonna hit a point. A girl, it doesn't take that much for a girl to go that route a certain type of way sometimes in life. And when a person does that, they're confused already because the masculine testosterone within them, then on top of it, whatever they're dealing with is a certain type of way. So if she was supposed to deal with an upright person and then she goes and deals with somebody else just as a fling and waste time, it could have been people that socially voting, entrapping and going after certain people, and they're just being conniving how they do it, and they just, every time somebody comes to them, they tell them some story and then nobody would really know, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of it, it's setting the wrong type of emotions of creation within a person's womb that would be already wasting time of social society and causing certain type of outcomes and abuse, even emotionally and mentally, even to an innocent child. And then next thing you know, it could cause a catastrophe because a person is just conniving, and then it causes a big eruption of a dilemma in the physical reality, and then bad things start happening to individuals because of the person's neuroactivity and the form of comfort that comfort the atmosphere. And then next thing you know, you have a society that uproots the reason of legacies, lineages, and bloodlines, social education, social equality, and value of revenue and comfort of social economics of overall. So you got to be careful with that type of situation. But say, for instance, you have a girl that goes sleep with another girl. Right then and there, the confusion of that happens. That's a girl telling a girl that. That's saying that you don't need to prolong to have no legacy, lineage, or bloodline. I'm cutting you off from that right then and there. And you don't need to know the reason and the real comfortability of having a unity of forming a form of caring for an individual a certain type of way that will be correct for the physical habitation of the human condition of one's manner of existence. And then next thing you know, all type of situations would happen. And when I mean manner meaning morals of etiquette and all type of other situation when it comes to ethics. Now, when a person does something like that, that causes confusion within the humane condition and offsets a chemistry balance within even in their physical humane condition, also to the neuroactivity of their brain. So also that will cause a person that has a legacy and lineage and bloodline to lose out on something very valuable. And say if they're social economically voting and targeting certain people, it will cause them to take a loss to currency, revenue, money, and then it will be the end of the reality. Now, when you have people, even men, when men do homophobic activity, you know what I'm saying, you got to think about what's really going on in the physical reality, because that's a person already breaking through the reason of their sacredcy, doing the wrong type of conduct to their physical, and then causing a further demoralization to the humane condition, even of the physical reality, and also could damage one's health, for one can't be able to procreate in the physical reality in the paradigm of time, especially for the future, and also setting off the wrong type of chemistry to the humane condition, to the atmosphere of one's comfortability, and then it could cause foul type of energies. Now, when you have people that do things like that, those are people that don't care about social equality and ethics or mannerism or reasons of legacy, lineages, and bloodlines. Now, even animals know how to procreate and just continue their existence. even down to natural animals, amphibians, birds, fishes, everything. So everything has a cycle. Some people may say, oh, they're part of this, they know about themselves, they're assigned, they're part of it. No, because it's still wrong, because the physical act of the humane condition is to arouse one's energy to make sure that one procreates the physical reality of creation the correct fashion for one's equality of humane companionship. So now you have to watch out for those type of individuals that would offset and manipulate and go about it being homophobic a certain type of way. Nothing against individuals that had the wrong experience and doesn't want to take a chance in life because they've been driven to do certain things because they were targeted a certain type of way. And the only way certain people can get into their legacy and lineage, and you might have people that live such a long time a certain type of way. They may be into all type of erotic type of how can I put this, erotic or subduing somebody of the physical reality, where they could even get into dominatrix and all types of situations. So you might have a person interest that where even the warning signs of the physical reality of the human condition, of the activity of the physics, is already warning you of the cycle of what the person may have been through, and then on top of it they might be pulling you in. Where that happens for the energy of life, a person can have some consideration and care what's going on. And it's just like meeting somebody that manipulates the physical reality, because you'll know if somebody really cares about you and if somebody really doesn't care about you, even in the physical reality, because one deals with emotions. Now, say for instance, I was speaking on these type of situations could drive out an individual from their honor and their seat of honor in the paradigm of time, and on top of it upset the reason of value and current revenue of the physical reality when it comes to currency. And then on top of it, you can make people lose forms of comfortability when it comes to their humane condition and humanity, and cause suffering, and then won't be better for the future, or just be ending the future. Either way, and on top of it, if people take acts inside of acts like that, you gotta remember, a feminine being has to clean her insides. A masculine being can't risk the reason of his pipe or his rod being demoralized or desecrated or deteriorated a certain type of way through the paradigm of time. And then a feminine being can deteriorate a certain type of way because she's wasting the times where she had to learn the cycles, the reason of cleaning her insides. So you got to be very careful with things like that, because it could cause the end of the world. So you got to really consider what I'm really saying. Now, a person has to think about all these type of things, because if these type of acts or people do these type of things, it could also jeopardize families, social communities, and social habitation when it comes to value and equality and far as the future. So you have to really be careful. But I'm going to say something else also. Now, speaking on the elements. Now, do you think some of these chicks sometimes, that you might have a chick that goes around, like, you see how they put concrete on the floor, right? Now, concrete, if somebody steals concrete and they try to form a weapon, you're going to hear banging inside the house at awkward times. You're going to see they're not really doing nothing, and that a person's just doing some type of miscellaneous habitation. Most likely a person that really knows something like that been manipulating people for such a while, they're into demolition, or they're into like scrap metal or stuff like that. So you got to be very careful with situations like that. And the reason why I say this is because you have people from other social habitations that move around or in social communities, and then they might have connections with other individuals that tries to drive out the reasons of honors of social districts or social societies, and then cause a person to put tar in front of the crib. Now, this is where it gets dangerous. The tar element is a very dangerous element. Now, I'm going to explain why. because you remember, a tar element could always be molded. It's just like if somebody remember, this is like a earth, so you consider, say, like a feminine being. A tar element could be molded, and you could persuade somebody a certain type of way with certain type of influence in the paradigm of time. Now, if a person's still in tar, how would you be able to tell? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a tar element. So it's so black, you gotta look for certain things that's missing a certain type of way. And then on top of it, when they melt down the element itself, when it's forming, it doesn't make as much noise as a concrete makes if a person was trying to reform concrete. Now, you won't hear the forming a certain type of way. It'd be more silent and it's more deadly because, it's an absorption because it's already a black element a certain type of way. And the reason why I'm really speaking about this also, you got Black History Month coming up, so a person has to have this type of consideration. And then you remember assassinations through a paradigm of time. So I'm going to say just like this, if you have a feminine being at a time, that's like manipulating, if you have a feminine being that's at a time that's manipulating the physical reality, and then say for instance, they're jealous of a girl that's coming into that's doing the right thing and correct things a certain type of way in life, and they can't deteriorate or waste their time for social revenue, for income. And then on top of it is a person that doesn't really care, or it could be another type of humane habitation of pressurization through time and concealment, that they may target certain other girls. Like, say if I call my wife the real empress and she manifests in the physical reality. Now, a person using a tar element, you won't be able to tell if they have a weapon and if they formed the weapon at a time. And then this would be endangering the life of other innocent people and the person of the reason of the importance of the existence of the humane condition, especially of the earth. It's just like when I'll be wanting to speak to my wife, and I tell her like, yo, imagine a power struggle, like situations with China. Imagine a power struggle with females and a person that's on a higher scale or a higher level of reality, and they're nitpicking how to absorb power. Now, remember that we're in 2020 right now. And we're in the year 2020, the year of the element and the year of persuasion in a certain type of way. Say you have a person that has, a feminine being that is trying to abstract certain power from an empress at the time, and she's just nitpicking at what girls she's fucking up other girls' lives a certain type of way, making them go the wrong way to absorb a form of energy. Because imagine if there was like two earths next to each other that was different from each other, and then you have one that's just offsetting one earth and just trying to get people to come to their planet, and the next thing you know, and causing the habitation of another planet to collapse. Now you had the Garek from the ice galaxy, their planet collapse. You have other social economic galaxies. You have the Tykes. You have all type of the Triple Crown Empress, the majestic galaxy. You have the Miracle Galaxy. You had Era have their own galaxy. You have the element, you have all type of other situations. You have the Auroriath galaxy, and then even with energy, dealing with energy and stuff like that. You have all type of different solar systems and galaxies, and Auroriath is dealing with the Aurora Borealis, what you call the Star Realis. So, another person that doesn't know certain things about certain situations will cause a certain type of habitation even in the physical reality. Now, say if you have somebody trying to offset somebody's planet and absorb their power, like they're trying to, like the element empress of this earth, I call my wife, but say a person's trying to abstract her power and waste her time because they wasted social revenue. This is her plan, also her planet, and then she would be in one of the seats of main power on her own planet because you have higher empresses, and I spoke about this and about the other families concerning this, even on Raffling Jr. Majesty Majiesty Chi White as Gold when I was in North Dakota making those documentaries. You have certain other individuals. I had Raffling Jr. White as Gold, and I have Raffling Jr. Majesty Chi White as Gold, and then you have another empress in power, and somebody trying to abstract her power or her energy and wasting her time or causing slothful acts where they want to collapse her reality because she's an element empress. Now, you got to think about all these you got pre-prime trends. You got to think about all these type of situations, even of the physical reality when it comes to elements. Even Cybertron's pre-prime trends, you got pre-prime trans galaxy, individuals that were targeted from a long time ago because of certain teachings. You have the time when I made Atlantis and I had to cover Atlantis a certain type of way and sun in a way because other people wasn't ready for that type of physical education in the paradigm of time. And then you had certain things that were still in existence. Now, and just like I said, you even have the light galaxy even concerning and dealing with era. So you got to really think about certain situations even in the paradigm of time. Now, if you have a person that forms a social group and then they're governing and they're trying to abstract a form of energy to the physical reality, to empress, not only if they're doing that to the real empress, everybody a part of that social societies, even at the time, is going to take a major loss. Because if the empress lose power and people are demoralizing or causing her to not to refine on an element, because the element is high vibrational current, even in the physical reality when it comes to the atmosphere, then you learn about the sun, the moon, and everything. So everybody a part of that social economic system at the time will be taking a serious major loss on a scale, even if they go in their own habitation, because a form of physics already took place and the form of their energy already was a certain type of way. So it might cause a bounce, depending on the social acts or the social gathering at a time. They might take part of certain things that might cause a detrimental situation to their humane condition or their social existence of humanity when it comes to even their social equality or their social economics of humanity. So a person has to have the type of consideration to think what's really going on, because if you have an empress abstracting another empress's power and doing it on purpose because of jealous emotions and offsetting certain things. It's just like, imagine one of my wives in a spiritual realm that's supposed to be watching over the family all of a sudden told me she want to be dyke. Her life is over already in the spiritual realm. She'll be like a energy stuck in the spiritual realm and never be called upon because she already made a decision to end her legacy, lineages, and bloodline and the reasons of her social habitation. Social also meaning solar systems. So you got to think about that. And then you have people that take parts, just like I was telling you in the other documentary in part 8 of this degree 139 part 8, that other people that make choices and sell themselves, and it's a paradigm of time. And who they do, if they do it to a person that, I'm obligated to tell you, but if they do it to a person that is more than a person where they parent, my wife is more than the earth and is in space and dealing on higher levels, it could cause it for a longer time frame in the paradigm of time, even an extension. So even if they get reconditioned in another life, they will be living a form of suffering a certain type of way. So a person got to think about even the favors you do to certain people when you're in social gatherings and trying to accomplish certain things, because some people don't look at the bigger picture when it comes to mentality and having a form of social equality of education to know the reason what's good for their life and what's good for their legacy and lineage and their bloodline, their family, and their social society of equality for futurization. So you got to really think about these type of things, because if you have somebody, even if one of my wives turned into a dyke and I didn't get to speak to her to tell her all type of things and explain to her, she end up losing her life, and it's something bad could already happen. And if that's already happened and she lost certain things, it's because of the decision she made with concerning her brain and her neural activity that offset all her energies and everything that she was already accomplishing in the physical paradigm that could cause the end of her existence, and it cause her to make that decision in the paradigm, because she probably a person that probably forgot herself on a level. Even look what happened to me in Boogie. Now I'm the first point of physics, so she would be second in command. So if something happens like that, you would have a person stuck and not knowing the reason why or the experience, because they might be another higher star empress, and my wife may not want to tell her what's going on, but she got to consider the reason I spent time to even form points of love. So you got to really think about that even in the physical reality. I just wanted people to really consider this type of situation, especially when it comes down to the elements, because if you have girls that is just trying to abstract a form of power, because you remember just like Umbach, you have people that's into eating exotic foods that wanted to, girls that claim to be witches and all type of stuff, and then they tried to kill scorpions or eat scorpions. They don't know what they really did to themselves. That's the end. That's the end of everything for them. They're not gonna have a form of comfortability throughout any future, because they already got rid of their comfortability. Just like I spoke on part 8, if you really listen to it, and then you'll know what I'm speaking about. You know what I'm saying? I edified it enough and clarified it enough for you to really grasp what I'm really speaking about. You know what I'm saying? To your comprehension and acknowledgement. But I'm just saying like this. And if you have chicks that's socially voting that already did wrong with other men and doesn't care, that's if them forming the black element to stab a chick and trying to absorb certain things and trying to learn certain forms of martial arts, manipulating people, trying to get in positions of power, that would be the end of the reality. It's just like it's just like a person that wants to become a nurse that manipulated doctors and teachers just to do the wrong thing, and they didn't do the right thing for themselves, their social habitation of the reason of their humane condition of physics throughout the paradigm of time, or the reason why they had the privilege or the honor of learning their physical education or social education. So you have to really think about these type of things, because these type of things are beyond serious, even in the paradigm of time, even in life. So if a person's not thinking about this, and especially to consideration, because you have you have movies like MIB, you have people that come visit and then take part of certain sacredcy with other people, just even gathering, even in harmonical frequency in the humane condition. And then if they don't know certain things about, say for instance, forms of reactivity or you gotta consider what I'm saying a certain type of way, and then they get caught up in a situation with other people. It could be detrimental. And then if you have the overseers, which I said my caretakers, international security, and the reason of social regard, and that's not paying attention to things like this, it could be bad for them, because they'll be looked upon as people that wasted time, and then another person on a higher level will look at them in another type of light form and consideration, and then it won't be a good thing, an outcome. You don't want no type of Star Wars happening, a galactical war happening a certain type of way, even on levels of physics, of the physical reality. So a person has to really think about these type of things. So I'm just telling people, you be careful out there, because you have chicks that just already did wrong, and the next thing you know, they don't want to see another person succeed, and then they try to absorb a form of physical or cannibalism or live in a certain type of way, and causes the end of people's reality or social equality, because you have feminine being. Like I told you, my wife has planets in her. I have planets in me. So you have people that don't know certain things, even throughout the paradigm of time of things that they did, even in the conditioning, and the next thing you know, all type of situations is happening. And then you have people that already targeted certain people of certain type of physics, of the physical reality, because they're not on that level, and because the lack of them not being on that level, the lack of understanding of their humane condition, the reason why they be looked upon so highly, another person, it might cause a demoralization. So you got to be very careful with people. And then if other people live maliciously and people didn't care about them and fucked up their condition or how they originally was in the paradigm of time, you might have a form of a Morgan Le Fay, and it might cause a tragic event, even when it comes to the humane condition and humanity of social humanity, and it might offset the chemistry and balance of their own social their social habitation and caused the end of their life and wasted their time for nothing. So a person has to consider these literal facts in the paradigm of time for survival, for social equality, for the future. So, you know, I'm just telling people, heads up, be very careful. I know I wasn't going to go, I told you I wasn't going to go the full 10, but I had to do this. And then you have people a certain type of way where I'm not going to be off point a certain type of way. And you have people that, you know what I'm saying, that was already a certain type of way. And then, you know, I'm going to be on points because a person not going to say that it wasn't so-and-so, wasn't so-and-so, and then they're doing other type of situations, even in the paradigm of time. So I'm a person that's alerting you about a situation because I'm the real parent overall, but that nobody can say I didn't tell them and I didn't warn them. And if I'm telling you now, I'm the real Edgar Cayce, the literal real Edgar Cayce. If I'm telling you this now, there was people back in the days I didn't even want to sit down with that used to want to pay bread, all type of bread, and I just didn't want to even be in their social habitation, even caused civil wars and led up to World War and all type of situations with individuals because I didn't want to give them a form of an inkling of acknowledgement because I had consideration for other individuals of stature and honor at the time. So you got to really think about these type of situations. And I love all my children, and I don't love one more than I love the other. But I'm a man. Even I have to be fair with you, even of the physical reality, for a person could have consideration of what's really going on. You know, have a wonderful night, evening going into the nighttime. It's Ralph Lane, JR. I'm just gonna be real with you. 1/28/2020. The year, the element, and you'll see what I'm saying, 2020. Love one.